Well, finally I could continue playing Shadowverse with Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. But should I? Of course, I could have played the original Shadowverse, but because of Worlds Beyond? Okay, now that word lost meaning for me. Announcement, it stopped receiving new support, so I meant a scene which gets supported. So I waited for it to be released. For the original release date I was wondering what the anime Shadowverse Flame will do, because it is because it was advertising the original Shadowverse. Because it still will be aiding if this game will be released on the original release date. Like that will be role change in anime advert, but then the game got delayed. And when it finally got delayed with some missing features, thankfully just side content, which isn't connected to the card game, as far as I see. Of course, I couldn't play it. It didn't show up on my phone's Google Play Store. So the game didn't support my phone, but on the computer, well, I could press the Steam download button, but then after some time Steam had some kind of download error, and with it the game didn't download. And when I got a new update, I finally was able to download Worlds Beyond, and I downloaded it. But I didn't play it a lot. Only the single player stories what was available at the time, and when I noticed that no stories were added. I didn't play a lot of multiplayer because it felt like the story experience didn't teach the player enough how to play the game. Or maybe that is true because most of the story is just dialogue, and only here and there are battles or matches or whatever terminology this game is using. However, the story didn't introduce me. So I was ready, or that's the reason why I wasn't intrigued by the story. No, fine. Maybe I lost interest in Shadowverse altogether, or just I was busy making reviews for other games, or because it is a live service cash game. I don't want to get into it. But of course I wanted at least to try new Shadowverse mechanisms and play minigames, which turns out weren't implemented even when there was a delay. Also, at least there was speculations, if not outright claim, that a new game was made because they changed the game engine, but turns out it still uses Unity. So it's more true that Psy Games made a new game for some new mechanisms, while Konami added a new game mode to an already existing game. And of course, this game was developed and published by Psy Games for phones and computers. Only, I'm not sure where to start about this game. Well, I could start with the story, but because it is a live service game, then of course the story is ongoing. I guess I'll say about the story, the prologue is a flash forward to a point which still isn't realized for players to read, and then go back to the present, maybe. The explained also characters' backstories. So far, only three character stories are available, and it takes place in different worlds. Okay, maybe I didn't need to tell you about the game story because it is secondary to a live service game. Then it isn't important, I think. Or maybe I said it first to get it. Or maybe I said it first to get it out of the way. So I shall be talking about the most important part of the game, the card gameplay. Your deck can have only its class and natural class cards, so there are 7 separate classes, and the 8th is a natural class, which can be used by every class. So these are separate classes: Dragoncraft, Portalcraft, Evencraft, Forestcraft, Swordcraft, Roundcraft, and Abseacraft. So if you come from the original Shadowverse, then you can see that there are 2 classes missing, and 1 no class added. Shadowcraft and Bloodcraft get combined into one Abseacraft. But the most of the mechanisms are of Shadowcraft. There's little to none mechanisms of Bloodcraft in Abseacraft. If it's gonna be just Shadowcraft, then just call it Shadowcraft. There is no point calling it Abseacraft. You know, it is the second time Shadowcraft and Bloodcraft got combined into Abseacraft. It's because it was done for Shadowverse Evolve, a physical version of Shadowverse. And I guess I was wrong about that there can be a physical version of Shadowverse. But I was right about there can be double-sided cards in the physical version of the game. Anyways, it is understandable why it was done in a physical card game, at least from what I heard. Like it will be hard to track some mechanisms in a physical card game. But combining these 2 classes into one class was pointless in a digital environment, especially when one side gets little to none support. Sorry about that tangent. Now, finally about the gameplay. I'll start with what base features stayed from the original Shadowverse. Of course, it revolves around the resource system, which still is just arbitrary numbers as resource. Play points. Every turn you earn 1 play point until the max amount of play points, 10 play points. And of course there's still a limit how much you can earn on the field, and it's still up to 5 amulettes and odd followers. More or less the same keywords return, but some are gone and maybe there are no ones. For example, returning keywords are rush, stone, fart, body, and more. No ones, I'm not sure about them. And of course there is a mulligan. Redrawing cards is start to say much. Now about what's new or changed. I'll start with what I did in Merchants, what I did stay, and of course it is evolutions, because there is also a super evolutions. Both evolutions have separate evolutions points, and both players have the same amount of evolutions points when they are unlocked. 2 points for each evolutions type. Unlike what I tracked when the game was announced, evolutions points will change to super evolutions points. Both forms increase the power and defense to the card and give the card rush ability to pull against enemy followers. However, the super evolution form doesn't get damaged in the turn when it gets super evolved, and when it defeats an enemy follower, it deals 1 damage to the enemy leader. Now the second player gets an extra play point as a bonus play point, and only up to twice per match. It doesn't speed up the play point gain. One more new thing is that they also on location, so they don't take up the space on the field. But you can have only up to 5 crests active at that time. What matches I have experienced, it mostly are getting followers on the world so they can be destroyed by the opponent. So back and forth, which should be a good thing, but I'm not sure about it. Either I don't like it or it isn't a good implementation. Maybe if four is into back and forth interactions, then maybe they can figure out if it's a good implementation or I just don't like it. At the time of writing the script, there is just one format for ranked and unranked matches, like there isn't rotations or unlimited matches. Well, because there aren't a lot of sets, so at least for now these matches are unlimited matches, I think. And so for extra modes there is only a take-two, but to be able to play it, you need to have enough rank for regular ranked mode. It is still a mode where there is a choice between two sets of two cards, but in this case you can draw cards twice. But that's not all, there is also a 3D lobby, which you need to enter manually. Each shadow adds spark, and with it there is your avatar. It's a place where you can access casual and ranked matches. Casual matches are against players in the same lobby. There is one table where your game can be shown on screen, for which quality can be low, but under stable when also the 3D environment is rendered. And with it you can watch every match and as amount is a spectator. In throughout the lobby you might be able to meet with new people, but I haven't done it, so I don't know actually. There is a voice chat, I think, but it is active only in private instance. In the lobby you also have your own room, and if the minigames were implemented, which weren't implemented even with delays, they would be accessible from this lobby. Well, there might be one minigame implemented, which is just basic parkour. Just jumping on platforms which are close enough. And from the lobbies you can access tournaments if there is any tournament. I have no drugs about the park, if it's a good implementation or not. I haven't interacted with it a lot. Now a little bit of miscellaneous stuff. Breaks is pressing now for Steam. With Steam launch pop up, the game still launches, and if I still can play it, then I'm just pressing now every time when it happens, which is every time. Even when I guess what it is for, I still don't know what it is for, so I'm just pressing no at it when I still can play the game. Back to evolutions. Super evolution still owes his evolution scatter, so yeah, even having 10 forms gameplay points, there are only 2 forms represented in the card art. Now about this game controversy. Monetization. Like players saying it's more pay to win or something like that. I personally can't confirm if that is true or not. So I'll be speculating or just sharing stuff on how this game is monetized. Of course there is a premium currency that you can only buy. Of course there is a premium currency that you can only buy with your art in-net money, and if someone says the game is a secondary shop, then it is a secondary shop where you need to pay to it. You can't earn it from in-game. Of course, this currency can be also to buy cards from card packs, but also cosmetics, not just for cards, but also for lobby avatar stuff and your drone. Like there is also a ball pass which you can buy only with a premium currency. And like any other games with microtransactions, of course to be able to buy stuff also in premium currency, you need to buy a more expensive tier, so you have full premium currency leftovers. Which can be done of course from in-game or from a web store. Of course for card packs you can receive tickets for a specific pack or go to us for any pack. Now about the crafting feature, which is in-game of course. However, you can only leak 5 extra copies. As someone who wants to have a playset of every card in a card game, which isn't possible unless the digital cards foremost focus is a single player experience, it doesn't impact me. However, whoever wants to craft specific cards by leak filing the cards they don't need, then it impacts them, especially if there will be a rotation matches. Well, as casual playing the game, then I don't notice heavy monetizations. But with that, I almost always lose. Maybe with that, I should have seen the heavy monetization. And I meant playing casually as in using free text that the game gives you. And it's when a new set is added. Also there is a daily free booster pack, but of course with that you need to open the game every day. I guess I will still be playing it just for its story. Actually, because the story is mostly dialogue and matches are sprinkled only here and there, then maybe I won't be playing it even for its story. But I will be able to tell it only when a new story fragment will be added. In the right situations, or if it will be better implemented, then gameplay could be fun. I can't tell fully if the gameplay is fun or not. And the monetization? Maybe because of it free-to-play players will stop playing it. And so those will have matches against each other. Probably that can happen only when the game makes a really big mistake. A really large mistake. Well, that is just a speculation from me. Sure, you can try it by yourself to see if you can play as free-to-play, need to buy stuff or just drop the game. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, like the video, subscribe and comment. See you next time.